Jason Hawes and Elton Castee have just come out to address the Andrea Perrons situation. So, in case you weren't aware, Andrea Perrons, as you can see on your screens right now, made a video or a live stream with Erin Bush, Corey and Jen Heinzen, Julia DeMay, Steve Reed, Cody Satori, Ken, and then later on Jason Hawes. All talking about, obviously, Jason's GoFundMe and his attempts and efforts to save the Conjuring house. That's what they're labeling it as, and it's hashtag Save the Conjuring House. That's why I use that term. And also in the live stream, A World Awakening, Saving the Conjuring House is the stream title. Obviously, at the very beginning, yesterday, I made a video covering Andrea going pretty nuclear on people that are, speaking out against her cancer, speaking out and using that almost as like weaponized against her in her terms. Obviously, she said some very hardcore things within that rant, and it's safe to say that the community was very divided in the comments section of the video that I made. Before we get into it, be sure to drop a like and subscribe. You know what you need to do. So, we've got some updates with regards to that situation. So yesterday, of course, I uploaded the video entitled Andrea Perrons just went nuclear on the Conjuring House drama. This is insane, because it absolutely was insane. And I was talking about the situation as it kind of unfolded. So obviously, we're going to talk about the response, because in the comment section, the response was very divided. I would say it's easily a 50-50 split. A lot of people saying pro Andrea, saying, yep, this was a great idea. She's done really well here. Some people saying that she went way too far, especially when she name dropped Matt, Elton and Zach specifically. And, said some things towards those guys. Now, I'm not going to interject my opinion on any of this, because it's not my place to do so. Obviously, you can form your own opinions based off of the information you're provided with. But we did get some updates and responses. So Jason was the first person to respond to this. And in the comments, he said, I was unaware of the opening of this. I was investigating and jumped on for a short time. It would seem something set her off. So obviously there he states that obviously he wasn't there at the very beginning. He wasn't aware that this was going on. And we can attribute to that. So he was there later on. I don't know what point he came in. It looks like he came in around the 15-minute mark. But before that, Jason was not in this stream whatsoever. Ken jumped in a bit later, and then Jason jumped in about 15 minutes in, and then he later left again. Let's have a little look. Just flicking through here. He was only there for not that long at all. Maybe about 15 minutes, it would seem that Jason was in there for. So that does make sense. A lot of people in the comment section are saying, they agree with that. Makes sense. A lot of people obviously are saying that what set her off was probably the comments towards her cancer. Of course, that is kind of messed up in any capacity. No one should be weaponizing a woman's cancer against her. A lot of people are also saying that didn't give her justification to say what she said within the stream. And again, that comes down to, I guess, your personal opinions. But at the end of the day, we should probably leave the cancer out of it. A lot of people, I saw a couple of people in the comment section saying that they are also terminal. I do hope, I'm sorry to hear that to those people, and I hope that you're able to get the treatment needed to kind of, make it as comfortable as possible, make your lives as comfortable as possible. But they've said, when you get to that point, you just hit a fuck it button. You don't have any fucks left to give. And that makes total sense, why that would be the case. So, kind of moving on from that as well, we've got Elton, who also chimed in on this situation. So Jason's obviously updated and said, I didn't know that was the case. I was investigating. Elton from Overnight, who of course was name dropped within this, did jump into the situation. And it's only fair to show both sides of this, as Elton did respond. So it was on a comment stated, honestly, I think if she had approached Matt and Elton respectfully and had an honest conversation with them, it would have been a better impact than out threatening them. She may have been able to get them to help. I know she's a very emotional, and if the cancer is on her brain, you don't think like you normally would. My mum had that in the end. But I'm not sure that this is the best way to get the paranormal community together. If people are threatening the bigger people, they will be less inclined to consider helping them if there was an honest conversation and or even a plea to them, like she did with Jason, in my opinion. Some people did agree with this. Some people, you know, again, I don't want to get into the ins and outs because it's difficult to kind of do that. But overnight, Elton did chime in on this and states, I had a lovely phone call with her a few weeks ago about precisely this. This is shocking and upsetting to me. I don't understand what happened. Obviously, Elton may be feeling potentially blindsided by this. He's claiming here that he's, of course, had a positive public interaction with it, and that's and then to see this maybe is quite upsetting. Obviously, we don't know what's come of this situation. We don't know where the breakdown in relationship potentially came down. We don't know what happened behind the scenes. We don't even know if it was a positive conversation. We're just playing all avenues at this point. But Elton did respond to another comment here. This was from someone called Lisa Hollis, who commented saying, please don't shoot me for asking this. I genuinely want to know, what do people have against Elton and Matt? I get not wanting Zach involved, but in general, I see snarky comments about Elton and Matt. Why are people against them? And people are kind of, you know, chiming in with their opinions, it looks like a productive conversation, to be fair. And then Elton did chime in on this one as well, referring to some things here made by AdHD Entertainment LLC. So they were talking about, they said, well, I'm a fan of them both, and I think the younger TFIL fans aren't showing the respect that they should to many paranormal investigators that came before Elton and Matt going into that realm. Other people did respond, and then they said $2,500, not $250. It's $2,000 for a group of 8, which is obviously for the Warrens Museum. That's still a lot of money. People are saying, I feel you, but they do have to make money back on their investment. I know some locations that charge more than $250, which is what one of the 8s would have to put in for the group visit. And then again, I'm trying to keep it on topic here. I do apologise. They're allowed to mix groups, but it's against the law for owners to do that themselves. The groups have to do it on their own, and then everyone else is kind of chiming in. And basically, people are saying that, you know, they're about the costs and stuff, and kind of, you know, mixing groups and all the rest of it. Overnight chimed in and stated, I would do that if I can, but it's literally illegal for me to help arrange groups. It's CT law and zoning. I've expressed this a few times, and it's an FAQ on the website. So obviously that's talking about the costs, mixing groups, managing and arranging groups, obviously. Basically, he's not allowed to do that, Elton. So he clears that up in the comment section as well. I wanted to kind of involve all of this in a video because, you know, I want to play both sides of this. I want to share what's out there, what's public information, what's the right information as well, because obviously if people are coming to my videos to watch these and get updates on the situation, I'm not trying to lead anyone astray. This is just what's being said, and it's only fair to show both sides of the situation, not just Jason, not just Elton, not just Zach if he was to chime in, not just Sam and Colby if they were to chime in, hypothetically, every angle of it. So will be very intriguing to see how things progress. You know, right now, everything's up in the air. Everything's up in the air. Elton has remained very quiet. I think this is the first time he's publicly spoken about the situation. Jason is maintaining that he's able to get the property. Obviously, you haven't seen yesterday's live stream that I did with Jason. Go and check that out, because there is a lot of information on there that Jason dives into with regards, and he takes comments and questions from the community directly via video calls. So nothing was off the table, and he made some very interesting points. If you want to go and check that out, literally just go over to the channel, go over to the live tab, and then you'll be able to see the Conjuring House situation with Jason Hawes live call-in. That was the live stream that we did. I do plan to do more of these with more people, so if you've got anyone that you want to get involved with this, you know, let me know who you want, and I will make sure to try and get those people involved, do live call-ins. I've offered it to Elton. He's politely declined because he wants to he wants to talk about it. I'm sure in his own time, but that's where we're at. Let me know what you guys think about this down in the comments below. Way down there, jump to get the hell out of that like button and subscribe. And until next time, I'll spook you later. Peace.